Okay, so I want to kick off our conversation today with a statement that, and I'm just warning you, might feel a little bit insulting at first. It's going to sting.
Ooh, starting with insults. I like it. That's a bold move. A great way to build rapport right out of the gate.
Well, it's not from me. I swear I am just the messenger here. The assertion is coming from deep inside the data vaults of the biggest streaming company in the world. And the message, when you boil it all down, is pretty much Netflix thinks...
Ouch. Okay, that is blunt and, yeah, a little bit offensive.
Or, if we want to be a little more charitable and I'm really trying to be here, they don't necessarily think you're stupid, but they think you are so hopelessly distracted, so addicted to that phone in your hand that you just can't follow a normal plot anymore.
Unless they spell it out for you.
Repeatedly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless they force feed it to you.
Yeah.
And what's so wild is that this isn't just some, angry Reddit theory. The source material we have today shows this is coming from inside the building. Yeah, that's the scary part. We're doing a deep dive today into this really fascinating and, frankly, kind of terrifying conversation that happened on the Joe Rogan Experience with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
But we're also looking at it through the lens of the analysis from the YouTube channel Clownfish TV, who really unpacked what this all means.
Right. And if you're listening and thinking, oh, it's just celebrity gossip, who cares what Matt Damon thinks? You really need to care about this. This isn't about Hollywood drama. This is about a fundamental shift in how stories are told.
It's about how the second screen phenomenon is literally rewriting the scripts you watch. And I don't mean that as a metaphor.
No, it's literal.
It's completely literal. Matt Damon dropped this absolute bombshell where he said, Netflix executives have explicitly told filmmakers that you have to reiterate the plot, say it out loud 3 to 4 times.
3 to 4 times.
Oh.
Just let that sink in.
Yeah.
Imagine watching, I don't know, The Godfather and having them stop every 10 minutes to say, okay, just to be clear, Michael is conflicted.
It's insane. And the reason is they have the data. They know you're scrolling on your phone while their movie is playing. They know you're not actually looking at the TV.
It's the industrialization of distraction, and that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack how your living room is destroying the concept of show, don't tell.
We're going to look at the death of the slow burn and what this all means for the future of movies as, an art form.
So let's get into it. The first big point, the mandate, or as you called it, TV for cats and dogs.
I can't take credit for that one. That's from the Clownfish TV commentators, and it is just... It's perfect. It captures the vibe exactly. It's content that's just stimulating.
It really is. So, okay, let's set the scene from the source.
Yeah.
Matt Damon is on Rogan's show, and he's telling the story about a meeting he had with Netflix.
Right. And normally you'd expect creative notes like, hey, can the hero be a little more likable? Or, we need a bigger explosion here.
Standard Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
The kind of back and forth that's always happened.
But this was totally different. It wasn't about the content of the story. It was about the delivery mech. The note was structural. They were told flat out, you cannot rely on visual storytelling alone anymore.
And let's just pause on that. Cannot rely on visual storytelling. Cinema is, by its very definition, a visual medium. That's the whole point of it, is moving pictures.
If you take out the visual, you've just reinvented radio.
Exactly. But they have the data. Netflix tracks everything when you pause, when you rewind. And they have all this other usage data that suggests, yeah, the TV's on, but your eyeballs are looking down at that little 6-inch screen.
The second screen react. And that data is what leads them to sharpen the pencil.
Ugh, the pencil example. This part of the source material drove me absolutely crazy. But it explains so much about why modern shows feel the way they do.
It really does. So walk us through it, because this is the absolute core of the problem.
Okay, so imagine a well-made movie from, say, 20 years ago. You've got a character who's really tense or angry. He walks across the room, grabs a pencil, and just starts aggressively grinding it in a wall-mounted sharpener.
Right. You get that sound, that chunk, and you see the look on his face, the white knuckles.
And that's subtext. It tells you everything you need to know about his state of mind without a single word of dialogue. You, the viewer, are participating by putting the pieces together. You're thinking, uh-oh, this guy's about to snap.
But under this new mandate, the distraction mandate, that scene is a total failure.
A complete failure. Why? Because if you're looking at Instagram, you miss the whole thing. You just hear a weird grinding sound in the background and look up, confused.
You think the audio glitched or something?
Exactly. You're lost. So to fix that problem, the writers are now forced to have the character narrate his own actions.
So painful.
He has to walk across the room and say something like, I'm walking across the room to sharpen my pencil because you are making me very angry right now.
Oh, it's just hearing you say it out loud is physical. It sounds like a parody.
It does, but just pay attention next time you're watching a new streaming show. The dialogue is just loaded with this stuff. It's not natural conversation. It's audio description for people who aren't blind.
Because they assume you are effectively blind to the screen. You're looking at your phone.
Right. It reminds me of those old-timey radio dramas where the narrator had to say, look out, the wall is crumbed, because you couldn't see the wall.
But we have 8K TVs now. We have these incredible visual displays.
We have the visual technology, but we've lost the attention span for it. That's the trade-off. And this is what the commentators at Clownfish TV meant when they called it TV for cats and dogs.
What's the thinking behind that phrase? Exactly.
Well, what does a cat or a dog watch on TV? They don't follow a plot. They don't care about character arc. They just react to movement, bright colors, and interesting sound.
So the algorithm thinks of us as the dogs in this situation.
Pretty much, yeah. The content is just designed to be slop is the word they used over and over. It's designed to be consumed while you're doing 5 other things. It's not a meal you sit down for. It's a bag of chips you eat while driving.
And imagine being the writer. I mean, this is what kills me. You study the greats, you learn about subtext and nuance, you want to write the next Sopranos.
And then some executive tells you, that's too subtle. The guy on the couch is watching a TikTok video of a cat falling off a table. You need to have the main character shout his feelings so the guy doesn't have to look up.
It just guts the art form from the inside out. And it's not just the dialogue, right? It's the entire structure of the story that's changed.
Exactly. Which brings us to our second big, the death of the slow burn.
This is where Damon and Affleck, as producers and not just actors, really get into the nuts and bolts of it.
Right. They talked about the old school action movie formula, the way they learned to make movies, the structure that gave us classics like Die Hard.
The 3-act structure.
The classic 3-act structure. Act 1, you set everything up, you introduce the characters, establish the world. It's a slow build.
You actually get to know John McClane before the shooting starts.
Right. Then Act 2 is rising action, complication. And Act 3 is the big finale. That's where you spend the money. You save the biggest, most expensive explosion for the very end.
You earn it. You make the audience wait, so when it happens, it actually has an impact.
But that structure depends on patience. And patience, according to the data, is a resource we just don't have anymore.
So what's the new streamer formula? How does it work now?
It's all about one thing, retention. That's the only god they worship. It's not box office. It's not critical reviews. It's just, did the user stay on our app?
And if someone clicks away in the first 5 minutes?
The algorithm sees that as a catastrophic failure. So the mandate from the top is you have to put the explosion in the first 5 minutes.
It's the sugar rush approach to storytelling. Give them dessert first so they don't...
Precisely. You need a massive hook-a-car chase, a murder, something shocking in the cold open, or you're dead. There's no time to build character or atmosphere. You have to grab them by the throat before they can swipe over to TikTok.
It's funny you mentioned TikTok because the source material makes that exact comparison. It's the swipe away culture bleeding into long-form story.
It is. Think about how you use those apps.
Yeah.
If a video isn't immediately grabbing you in the first half second, you're gone. Swipe. That's the behavior that's migrated to Netflix.
So a show that opens with like a slow, beautiful shot of a landscape, quiet.
Dead on arrival. Swipe. Back to the menu to find something with more flashing lights.
It reminds me of Quibi. Remember Quibi? The billion-dollar streaming service that just vanished.
Quibi, the Quick Bites disaster.
Yeah.
The source brings it up as sort of a canary in the coal mine.
Right. Quibi as a platform failed spectacular, but its whole philosophy content for goldfish attention span, that philosophy basically won the war.
It absolutely did. Now even a prestige hour-long drama has to be paced like a series of 10-second clips strung together.
Which is why so many shows feel so frantic now, isn't it? They're just terrified of silence.
They're terrified of the breath. In good filmmaking, the quiet moments are everything. It's the look between two characters that says more than a page of dialogue.
But in the streamer formula, silence is just an opportunity for the viewer to get bored.
And that fear is what's driving the creative. It's fear-based filmmaking. Don't let them get bored. Jingle the keys. Jingle the keys.
Jingle the keys is the perfect way to put it. But you have to ask, why are we like this? Is it just the technology or is it also where we're watching?
I think that's a huge part of it. Which brings us to the third section of our dive, the environment, the battle between what Affleck called the Church of Cinema and the living room.
I loved that analogy. It's so good.
It really is, because it perfectly captures what's been lost.
Think about the ritual of going to a movie theater. You have to get up, leave your house, travel to a specific place, you buy a ticket, you walk into this dark room with strangers. That's the congregation.
The lights go down, the screen lights up, and the most important part, you can't pause it.
You cannot pause. The movie commands you. It doesn't wait for you. If you have to go to the bathroom, you miss something. If you pull out your phone, everyone around you glares at you, demands your surrender.
Exactly. It forces you to be present. Now, contrast that with the Netflix viewing environment that Rogan and Damon were describing.
The living room, the enemy of immersion.
Right. Picture it. It's a Tuesday night, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
The lights are on, so there's a glare on the TV.
The kids are yelling, the dog is barking, you're trying to fold laundry on the couch.
Your laptop is open because you're still half working. Your phone is buzzing next to you. It is an environment of pure chaos.
It's a multi-purpose utility room. And in that environment, as the source argues, nobody's paying full attention to anything now.
And that reality is the justification for dumbing everything down. If the environment is chaotic, the story has to be simple enough to cut through all that noise.
It has to be loud and obvious and repeat itself constantly just to get through.
Yeah. You can't make 2001, a space odyssey for an audience that is also cooking dinner and arguing with a toddler. It's impossible. So instead, you have to make the equivalent of Paw Patrol for adults.
And in that shift, we've lost something really important. The source talks about the death of water.
This is such a huge point. Think about when a show like Friends or Cheers was, or even more recently, the early seasons of Game of Thrones.
Everyone watched it at the same time. Sunday night at 9 p.m. was an event.
And everyone really watched it. Because what else are you going to do? Your phone wasn't a portal to the entire universe yet.
So the next day, at work or at school, you could have a real conversation about it. You could talk about the nuance, the subtext, that little look, a character.
Because you all had the same shared focused experience. Now, not only is everyone watching something different, but even when we watch the same show, we're only catching about 60% of it.
So I can't ask you about the subtext because you probably missed it while you were checking Twitter. The shared cultural experience is gone.
It's just fragmented into a million little distracted pieces, which, speaking of which, brings us to Stranger Things.
Ah, yes. The source had a very specific, and I should say, very controversial theory about what might be happening with the Duffer Brothers and the latest of that show.
And we should be clear, this is pure speculation from the commentators at Clownfish TV. This is not a confirmed report.
Right. It's a theory, but it fits the pattern we're discussing perfectly.
Their theory is that let's say, the perceived dip in quality or the feeling of repetitiveness that some fans have complained about might be a direct result of these Netflix men.
The idea being that the Duffer Brothers were essentially told, keep it simple, don't get too complicated with the mythology, remember, the audience distracted.
We know you've got this whole complex thing with the upside down in Vecna, but you have to remember that little Timmy is watching this on an iPad while he's also playing Minecraft. So please, make sure you explain where the monster is every 5 minutes.
The source had this satirical version of what the dialogue for season 5 would sound like under these rules, and it was hilarious, but also so depressing.
It was brutal. It was something like the character saying, oh, look, Vecna is not guarded right now, which means we can go attack him in his big spider castle. Oh, the castle is now turning into a giant spider. I am telling you explicitly that it is a spider so that you are not confused.
It's like a bad video tutorial. Press X to attack the spider. You are now attacking the spider.
And that's the idiot argument in a nutshell. The source just kept using that word slop to describe this kind of writing.
Yeah.
And the real danger is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That is the truly scary part. If you treat me like I'm dumb for long enough, I might just stop trying to be smart when I watch.
Exactly. If you remove all the subtext from shows, I'll stop looking for subtext. If you remove all the complex plots, I'll lose the ability to follow a complex plot. It's like a muscle that atrophies.
Media literacy just withers away.
And the commentators were worried this will spread beyond just Netflix shows. They talked about the rumors of Netflix potentially buying the libraries of like Warner Bros. Or DC.
And this is where they got really concerned. They said, imagine a movie like Joker.
The Joaquin Phoenix. Very intense, very psychological, lots of long, quiet scenes. It's all apt.
Could that movie even get made under the Netflix algorithm?
No way. The retention graph for the first 10 minutes of him just sitting on a bus would be a nosedive. And his executive would say he needs to look at the camera and say, I am dancing on these stairs because I am embracing my descent into madness.
And they joked that if Netflix got the DC universe, they'd have to rename the Justice League to the Super Friends.
Just so no one gets confused, we are all friends and we fight the bad guys together. So you can follow along while you're making a sandwich. It's funny, but it's also the death of any kind of ambiguity that makes art.
So is there any hope? Is everything just sliding into this big pile of dumbed-down slop? Well, surprisingly, the source points to a specific group that's fighting back.
Yeah, the anime and K-drama fans. This was my favorite part of the analysis because it shows that the second screen isn't inevitable, it's a choice.
So explain the subtitle defense.
Okay, so shows like Squid Game, K-dramas, anime, they're all massive hits on that huge viewership. But for most of the audience in the West, you have to read the subtitles.
Which means you literally cannot look at your phone.
You can't. If you look down to check a text message, you miss a line of dialogue. You're lost. You have to lock in. The medium itself forces you to pay attention.
It's like a filter. It weeds out the casual, distracted viewer.
Exactly. If you choose to watch a subtitled show, you are by definition an active viewer. You're engaged. The subtitles are like the new darkened theater. They create that bubble of focus in your own home.
And the argument is that this is why those shows are often so creatively written. The writers trust their audience because they know their audience is actually paying attention.
They don't have to repeat the plot 4 times.
Yeah.
But then you get the dubbing problem. Netflix sees the success, and they try to make it more accessible to turn it into background noise for the masses by dubbing it into English.
And the results are often not.
To put it mildly, the source describes a lot of the English dubs as just robotic and terrible.
Yeah.
Potentially even AI-generated voices or just very cheap voice actors who have no idea what the original context of the scene was.
They gave a really vivid example of how a bad dub completely ruined a scene.
They did. They described this moment that was supposed to be serious or romantic, and the dub dialogue was just so clumsy and bizarre. The line they mocked was something like, "Wow, did you see his penis? Yes, I did. It's really nice."
Delivered in a completely flat, robotic monotone during what should be an emotional scene, it just destroys.
It cheapens it completely. It's another version of the same mandate. Make it easy for them, even if it makes it stupid. Make it so they can listen while they're vacuuming.
So where does this all leave us? The source predicts a great split in society. 2 classes of viewers emerging.
I think this is already happening. On one side, you'll have the cinephiles, the people who still go to theaters, who seek out subtitle films, who want to engage with art.
The people who will put their phone in the other room to watch a movie.
Right. And on the other side, you'll have the casual, the multitaskers, the people who consume the slop as background noise while they scroll. They're the target audience for the idiot mandate.
And the scary part is, just by sheer numbers, the casuals are the majority. That's who the algorithm is built for.
And that leads to this overall decline in media literacy. The source brought this up. People will now say they've seen a movie when all they've actually seen is a 30-second clip of it on TikTok.
Or they know the meme, but they have zero context for it.
Right. Oh, yeah, I saw the American Psycho meme. I get it. No, you don't get it. You miss the entire point. The satire, the ambiguity. You just saw a funny face.
It's the Cliff's Notes version of culture. We watched the ending explained video on YouTube without ever actually watching the movie itself.
And then when we do watch the movie, we need the characters to explain it to us like we're 5 because we've forgotten how to do the work of interpreting it ourselves.
It's a pretty bleak picture, I'm not going to lie. But it explains so much. It validates that feeling you get when you're watching something and you think, why did that character just say that? I have eyes. I saw it happen.
They said it because the algorithm assumed you weren't using your eyes.
So let's bring this all together. The whole point of this deep dive was to unpack this second screen phenomenon.
And I think what's clear is that it's an industrial force. The big conflict is between artistic integrity, which relies on things like inference and visual storytelling,
and the commercial reality of a completely distracted audience.
The medium streaming in a chaotic home environment is actively changing the message. It's not just a different way to watch, it's forcing a different way to write, and it's erasing complexity.
It's the death of subtext, the rise of the exposition dump.
Which brings up that classic chicken or the egg question. Are we distracted because the content is bad, or is the content bad because we're distracted?
And that brings me to our final thought. There was a little detail in the source, something Ben Affleck mentioned about adolescents. He said that teenagers, the TikTok generation, they actually can focus on good content. They'll watch a movie they love over and over.
Which suggests the human brain isn't fundamentally broken. We're still capable of paying attention if the content is good enough to demand it. If it's compelling, we'll put the phone down.
Exactly. So here's the question I want to leave. Is this distracted viewer a true biological reality of our digital age? Are our brains just fried?
Or is it? A myth created by algorithms that profit from treating us that way.
Are we being treated like distracted idiots, and so we are becoming distracted?
Are we actually dumb, or are we just being trained to be dumb by a system that doesn't trust us to be smart?
That's the question. And next time you're watching a show and a character explains exactly what they're doing, maybe just put the phone down for a minute. Prove the algorithm wrong.
Watch the pencil being sharpened.
Watch the pencil. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next time.